All right, we're back. I hope you enjoyed those songs. This is your man, DJ TJ. You are listening to WKTJ Reverence Radio, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. It is September 4th, 2020, and here is what is in the news. Another black man has died at the hands of the police. And I believe this was not recent, but it was recent. But it's just now getting to the people. David Prude in Rochester, New York, was suffocated by the police, and he was put on life support and later died 1 week later. His daughter watched the whole arrest happen. Truth be told, they said he had mental issues and they were only putting a bag over his head to prevent him from spitting, especially during a pandemic. But while the bag was over his head, they decided to confine him to the ground by holding him down with a bag over his head, where he lost oxygen to his brain and he became brain dead and he was put on life support. Now there are protests in Rochester, New York, going on because of the death of David Prude. And it's not pretty, y'all. It's not pretty. That's just one of them. Trump caught himself going over to Kenosha, Wisconsin, where the mayor politely asked him not to. And he praised the police and did not meet with the family, and Joe Biden did go to Kenosha as well and did meet with the family, and only thing that came from that was when Trump was going to go over there, people asked him not to come. Things got worse with protests and rioting and looting and everything because they didn't want him there. People were getting shot. Which brings me to our next story. There was a man by the name of Michael Rannell who shot a Trump supporter. He went on later on the news and admitted that he felt like his life was threatened and the people around him were being threatened, and he shot someone in self-defense. Well, apparently the police caught up with this man and lit him up. They killed him. They shot him many, many times. And I don't know if they thought he was a big threat to somebody. I don't know what it was. But when people were walking around with their guns, just like that 17-year-old young man, and just shooting at just shooting at anybody or at will or anything like that, this is a good example of two white men walking around with guns, and both killed somebody. One of them gets killed because they're against Trump. The other one goes to jail and lives because he wasn't against Trump. He was also praised by Trump for what he did. This is a good example. Had either one of them been a black man, they would not have had a chance to even shoot at anybody. The moment you get seen with a gun in this country as a black man, you are dead. You're dead. Now, there might be one, maybe two cops that will give you the courtesy and the grace to put your gun down. But if they think that you're going to aim or move, you're a dead man. So it doesn't even pay or make sense for anybody to say, as a black person, man or woman, that they're going to go get a gun license and get a gun in this country. Because all you're doing is committing suicide by a cop. It's not bad in every area. It's not like that in every city or state. But in certain areas, I say bigger cities than anything else, you're in trouble. And that's just me talking, y'all. Okay? I can't say enough about how police treat people in this country, especially Black Americans, and people get offended because we're offended. People get mad because we're mad about what happens. And it makes absolutely no sense to me. You're mad at me because I'm mad about what's going on with our people. And it's a reoccurrence of the same incidents. Another Black man is killed at the hands of the police, and he's unarmed and participating in cooperation, and for some odd reason he ends up dead. If he runs, he ends up dead. Instead of trying to catch him, he's dead. Instead of trying to taser him, he's dead. Well, in the case of Kenosha, the young man lived, but he got shot 7 times. That's attempted murder. Shooting that man 1 time would have been enough. Shooting that man twice would have made your point. 3 times, then you know, barely people live off of 3 shots. This man was shot 7 times in the back, and now he's paralyzed. So intentions come out, deliberate actions come out, and they show in almost every time something like this happens. There's no justification for killing. Even as a cop, you have options. Somebody running away from you is not a threat. Somebody walking away from you is not a threat. It just doesn't make any sense how people can justify something that is not supposed to happen. Deadly force is the last resort. It should not be the first. And there have been many instances where a person of a different color could do exactly the same thing the Black man did and live. Exactly the same thing. They will not get a knee on their neck. They will not get a bag over their head. But they live. And it's sad, but it's reality. And people get mad because we're mad. Me personally, I expect this to happen. I had a friend of mine die at the hands of the cops back in the 90s. And I never looked at police the same way again. I don't dislike them. I don't hate them. I have no words about them. I really have no expression about them because of what happened to him. When they killed that man by the side of the river, his hands was raised in the air, and they had no reason to do that. I knew that this country was a lot worse than I thought it was, and I was a young age at that time. But that's just me, and I know this country has not gotten any better, and it won't. Even with a Black president, we didn't get any better. So even with a Black vice president, we won't get any better. You know what I'm saying? So people may think that people in office will make a change. Nope. Won't happen. It's not going to be the march. It's not going to be the bill. It's not going to be the speech that does it. This is something that God has to do. Because all these spirits running around here with hatred in their heart and ignorance in their heart and fear in their heart. Our pure existence scares many people. When I say our, I mean black existence. Because there's a lot we have done in this country that we do not get credit for, will not get credit for, will not get paid for, will not be known for. That scares other nationalities. And they can't take it that we're getting closer to recognition. Or when we get recognition, it makes them even more angrier. So that's the reality, you all. And I can say that I give kudos to Black Lives Matter. I give kudos to all the athletes for standing up. I give kudos to all the owners and all the billionaires and millionaires out there who now recognize, after all this time, what we've been talking about. Colin Kaepernick is a seed planter. And he deserves his recognition. He deserves his right to explore himself and his talent. He deserves that. For him to start something and still not have a job after people realize why he did what he did and now encourages what he did to happen around this world, there's no way he should not have a job right now. The simple fact is that things will not change until God changes them. And we all know that people have to accept God changing anything in their life. They have to receive it. And I've been realizing that a lot lately. God has been speaking to me through a lot of different people about where I've come from spiritually, and I get to see it in people who are now around me, how far I have come spiritually, which is amazing, and I thank God for showing me that. But that's enough about that, you guys. Weather's going to be up and down. We're getting to fall. Children are going back to school. There have been children going back to college. Not all, but some. There are states who refuse to let their children go back, and they are doing their schooling online. And other states say, we're going back, but we're going to take precautions. Well, it's still not safe, you all. It's still not safe. No matter how you chew it up or spit it out, it's still not safe. There have been people who have gone back to school and have to turn around and go back home because the school got an outbreak. So people will learn, but they're learning a hard lesson. A very, very hard, stubborn lesson. That we're not ready. We're not ready. And that becomes a reality the hard way. A lot of time is wasted. A lot of money is wasted. And they lie about a vaccine, which is deadly, given to the wrong person, deadly, given out at the wrong time, deadly if it's not effective. Not to mention, the flu is on the way. I had a thought yesterday, just speaking out, just speaking out loud. The flu is on the way. So, more than likely, this is just me saying this. I don't know if it's going to happen or not. It may or may not. They can exhibit and change the way they do the vaccine by saying, okay, the flu is here. Let's give them the flu vaccine and say it's a vaccine for COVID-19 just to please the president. Because right now they're expecting to have a vaccine by October, which is next month, you all. And they haven't got through trials. They haven't got through the final phase, which is the third phase of these trials. It is dangerous. And we're talking about not just this country receiving this vaccine. Very, very dangerous. They could start a war if what they give to other countries is not effective. And they say it is. So it all comes down to who does what. Only time will tell. Not only that, it's the last thing, y'all, so far. Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Mark Meadows. The negotiations with the next stimulus package is non-existent. They keep giving phone calls to one another. They keep talking about, skinny bill this, skinny bill that. Nancy Pelosi said 2.2. Come up or we have nothing to talk about. So the Republicans come up to 1.3. It's still not enough. They make a skinny bill that has everything but stimulus checks. Still not enough. So states are doing a pretty good job of keeping afloat, not having any money to support all the firemen and police officers and all the people who are so-called essential in keeping the cities running. And there's money here, money there. But the biggest thing people talk about is unemployment. And they keep getting jobs numbers and everything like that going up and down and whatnot. And there's still no money to help people. So that's where we're at. And right around the corner is November, where people are supposed to be voting by mail. So the president says, make sure you vote twice, which is against the law. It's a federal crime to vote twice. So you vote by mail and you try to go in by person and vote again, they're going to know you already voted by mail. And the good thing about voting by mail is you can track your vote. Nobody's saying that. There might be one or two people that may have let it slip, but nobody is mentioning the fact that you can track your vote by mail. So don't go out there and vote twice, y'all. Don't be dumb. Don't waste your time. You either vote in person or you vote by mail. 9 or 10 times, people are going to vote by mail. You get out there early, it's a wrap. Don't worry about it. It's done. You did it. Me personally, I'm still struggling to see if I will or will not vote. I more than likely will. But hey, I'm trying to see what these knuckleheads are doing, which is not a good thing. They're not giving a reason for us to vote. There was another person who threw his hat in the race for president, which is now going to deter another number of votes away from someone to keep this thing simple and sweet and keep it fair. First it was Kanye, now it's another actor that's trying to do that. I can't think of his name, but it makes no sense. But it makes sense because anything that you can do to make something offset the right amount of votes is going to make somebody else lose. It depends on whose votes are going to be gone. And that's all I have for you all for the news today, y'all. Other than that, wear your mask. Our new songs for the week are going to be by Trey McLaughlin, "Oh Come to the Altar." It's a cover. And George Duke, T-Jam. Now, and I'm going to remind you all, on Monday from 7 to 8, we have our jazz hour. Now, mind you also that I may make jazz a permanent thing, make it a permanent staple into our rotation for the radio station. So we'll be gospel, jazz, and maybe even funk from now on. It might happen, y'all, but right now on Monday between 7 and 8, there is a jazz hour. Make sure you tune in to WKTJ Reverence Radio. This is your man, DJ TJ. This is September the 4th, 2020. You are listening to WKTJ Reverence Radio or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. We will be right back with our new songs of the week. Stay right there.